What is assessment and what isn't it? Assessment is one of the more often misunderstood and misrepresented topics in education. It often gets connected to debates over the merits of standardized testing, the philosophies about when and how much to assess students, and controversies surrounding grading practices. While there are a lot of wrong ways to do assessment, the goal of this presentation is to share what assessment should be. When done well, assessment can be a source of hope for all students and has the potential to improve teaching and learning in more ways than just about any other educational practice. Think of the last time you learned a new skill. How did you know when you learned it? Were you learning on your own or learning with a teacher? What happened in the course of your learning that increased your confidence? What happened that caused you to feel discouraged along the way? Whether you're learning to cook, add numbers, walk, tell time, or anything else, assessment is how you know whether or not any particular goal has been met, or if there's still more work to do to get there. That simple idea is how assessment should be characterized, and yet it has gotten a bad reputation in the education world. Some of the most common negative perceptions about assessment include it damages student self-esteem, assessment is overused, assessment takes time away from teaching, and many assessment practices are unfair. While all of those can be true, if assessment is used outside of what is considered best practice, but none of those things should be true. When assessment is done well, students understand what they're learning and how they will be measured ahead of time, so they're not surprised. They're prepared for assessments with learning experiences that align with specific goals. They're empowered to take ownership of their own learning, and they learn at a much faster rate than they would otherwise. It's also important to remember that solid assessment practices balance the frequency and time spent assessing with the amount of useful information teachers get from it, so they're not wasting valuable time collecting information that won't result in better teaching. They also include efficient routines and procedures for collecting evidence of student learning to maximize time for instruction and practice. Many people think of assessment as a synonym for a test or a quiz, rather than seeing the full scope of what assessment includes. While tests and quizzes are assessments, not all assessments are tests and quizzes. Assessment is a process rather than a single event, and it includes clear outcomes, communicating those outcomes to students, instruction that's aligned with those outcomes, collecting evidence of student learning continuously while they're learning and after chunks of instruction, and cycles of feedback and more instruction prior to ending a unit so that students learn as much as possible. While the overarching goal of all assessment is to better understand students' learning, different assessment contexts serve specific purposes. The format of the actual questions or prompts students respond to as the teacher's collecting evidence of their learning is important. What is also important is how that evidence or data is used. Sometimes assessment data is used to check in on students' learning during a lesson or a unit to see what they're learning and understanding, and to plan the next chunk of instruction accordingly. In those cases, the assessment is formative. Other times, teachers want to know how many of the learning goals students have mastered during a unit. In those cases, the assessment is summative. It's not the set of questions or the task that determines whether an assessment is formative or summative. It's how the information is used. Let's say the teacher is toward the end of teaching a unit about the Revolutionary War. The teacher wants to know if the students are ready for the unit test and gives them a brief practice quiz with 5 questions. Each question represents one of the key ideas in the unit the teacher's hoping they will understand. When analyzing the results, over 80% of students already had a solid understanding of the concepts aligned with questions 1 3, and 4. But only about 40% of the class could answer questions 2 and 5 correctly. The teacher uses that information to plan a couple more lessons focused on the topics aligned with questions 2 and 5 before wrapping up the unit. This is an example of how formative assessment functions. If the same set of 5 questions had been used at the end of the unit, the purpose would have changed to summative, or finding out what they learned from the unit and moving on. Instead, the teacher gave the quiz in the middle of the unit and used the results to make the remaining lessons in the unit more focused, which makes it a formative assessment. Again, it's not the tool being used to collect data that determines whether it's formative or summative. It's how that information is used. The formative assessment cycle is one of the most powerful ways to accelerate student learning because it allows the teacher to target their instruction based on the needs of the students in front of them, rather than simply what the curriculum guide says to teach next. No matter what you're teaching, formative assessment is a key to maximizing learning. So whether you're teaching students how to graph quadratic equations, tie their shoes, throw a ball, initiate a conversation with a peer, or anything else, assessment is how you know if they learned it. Without assessment, instruction is aimless and random. It's time to refocus the meaning of assessment on the full scope of practices that really improve learning for students. Assessment is a process rather than one single event. Assessment should always result in more and better learning. If it doesn't, we're not doing it right. The type of assessment is defined by how the information is used. Formative assessment is for making instructional decisions while students are still learning. Summative assessment provides a summary of learning periodically.